Oh, well, she certainly knows what day it is. Kershaw Day in the series finale between the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. Dodgers with a chance to have a 500 road trip and a chance to win this series against the D-backs. And we say welcome inside. Joe Davis with Earl Hershiser. Alana Rizzo joins us in just a moment. It sure was nice to see the offense break out last night. They had struggled so much over the previous week or so, and really as a whole this season. But last night they bang out 4 home runs to even this series up.
You know, the cliche that good pitching beats good hitting, and that's what Archie Bradley was doing there for a while with a no-hitter. But the thing about good offense, they capitalize on mistakes by the pitcher. Bradley started to make mistakes, throw balls, and the offense capitalized.
It's a day game after a night game. Sometimes you're dragging in that case. It's a little harder to get ready for the game. Not as much energy, but there's even a little more energy than normal today, and that's because of the guy taking the ball for the Dodgers.
And Clayton has gotten a few of these day games, and he has picked the team up. He gets up a little earlier. He gets into his regimen a little bit sooner. Doesn't want to just sleep in and then hopefully pitch in a couple hours. He gets up 6, 7 in the morning and gets it going, and I'll tell you what, all year he's had it going. You can look at all the glowing statistics. You can think of him as like a video game pitcher, the way he goes about his business. And I'll tell you what, if he was on the cover of a video game, you wouldn't be able to use him as a player. It would imbalance the whole game.
He would be ratings 99 across the board. He's the guy you create and the creative player in the video game. Face off with Patrick Corbin of the Diamondbacks in this series finale. See if the Dodger offense can support Kershaw against Corbin today. When we come back, Alana Rizzo with a little more detail on those home runs last night. 4 of them in Game 2 of this set. Chase Field, downtown Phoenix. Dodgers and D-backs playing with the roof closed today with the temperature right at 100 on the outside, but it's perfect. The AC pumping in here. 78 degrees on the interior for the series finale between these two squads. There's Dave Roberts. And here's Dave Roberts' lineup for today. Kike Hernandez makes the start with the left-handed pitcher on the mound. He's out of the leadoff spot. Turner slides up to second for only the 8th time this season. Seager hits third, and then you notice the change in the 4 and 5 spots. Thompson hits cleanup. Adrian Gonzalez hits 5th for the first time this year. Kendrick and Van Slyke both making the start. And as usual, it's A.J. Ellis doing the catching for Clayton Kershaw against Patrick Corbin, who's 26 years old. He's from Clay, New York. And like many guys, has been much better on the road than he has here at Chase Field, where we've seen the last couple nights the ball flies really well.
And he's a fantastic athlete. He was also a basketball player, can do a 360 dunk from a couple steps away from the basket. He's a really good hitter, and his pitching is going to be fastballs in a lot, a slider that is his devastating out pitch, and a changeup that he's developed. Was throwing too many of them early in the season, which he worked on really hard in spring training. It took away from his slider, but the slider is back in the last 3 starts or so.
And he'll face Kike Hernandez to get the afternoon started. Diamondbacks took the opener 3-2. Dodgers came back with a 7-4 win last night. And Corbin misses downstairs to get us going. Closed captioning today brought to you by Shumash Casino, where we are all about you. Notice Kike's got a different hairdo going. Drives one in the air to right. Yasmani Tomas is there for the first out. Lana Rizzo's got some information on him she'll share with us a little later on. That hair wet. So Corbin gets Kike, and up comes Justin Turner. I think probably the biggest positive on this road trip has been Turner's emergence. He's 7 of 22 on the trip. He's doubled twice. He's homered twice, including the home run last night, which he guessed was the longest home run of his career. And it officially was the longest home run of his career at 458 feet out to left center.
That means it probably had the highest exit velocity also. He looks more balanced, more confident, and he is squaring up a lot of balls right now. Yesterday we talked about the third hitter has to hit if the lineup's going to score runs. That's the hole he was in yesterday. Today moved up to the 2 hole with Adrian going down to 5 and Corey slipping into the 3. Chase Utley and Jock Peterson getting the day off. A lot of games in a row coming up where the Dodgers are going to see a lot of right-handers. So Dave Roberts feeling that those guys are going to get an awful lot of work, giving them a day off today, at least as far as resting for probably the first 6 or 7 innings. You never know in pinch hit situations late in the game.
Dodgers fly back home to Los Angeles following this game and open a 4-game series with the Milwaukee Brewers tomorrow night. 2-2, and Turner pulls it foul. Brewers have dropped the first 2 games up in San Francisco on this California road trip for them. And so the Dodgers remain 6 back of the Giants at 34-32. With a win today would capture a 500 road trip, dropping 2 of 3 in San Francisco. It'd mean winning 2 of 3 here. Full count on Turner.
The sting of losing 2 out of 3 in close games in San Francisco can be a little bit erased with the win here today. What you really want to do in a championship season, which the Dodgers have had a few in a row, play 500 on the road and be a winning team at home and take the division.
Turner takes the walk against Patrick Corbin, who faces off with that guy today, Clayton Kershaw, ready to make his 14th start of the season. Dodgers 12-1 in games that he starts. Well, man at first with one away for Corey Seager, and as the guys in the studio updated you on during the pregame show, he's now in the top 5 in All-Star voting as shortstop. Saw a little more than 400,000 votes for him. But Addison Russell of the Cubs is running away with that position. More than 1 million. Look at that. Corbin's 0-1. And Seager lays off it. 1 ball and 1 strike. He is hitless in his career against Patrick Corbin, who started against the Dodgers in early April at Dodger Stadium, held him to 1 run over 6 innings. It's the 10th time Corbin has faced LA during his career. 1-2.
So the voting, it'd be hard for Corey to catch up vote-wise to make it as a starter, but you could see him being added to the team as a reserve. Clayton Kershaw for sure is probably going to make the team, and then I would think Kenley Jansen's going to have a very good shot.
Seager down on strikes.
You might even see somebody like Adam Libator get a look as a left-handed specialist, as good as he's been.
Yeah, the numbers are eye-popping for him.
Joe Blanton has been outstanding. I'm not sure that they would go with someone that has not really had a high leverage impact role, but has of late in the last 3 weeks.
And very few non-closer relievers make all-star teams.
Exactly.
Trace Thompson hitting cleanup, with Adrian Gonzalez sliding down into the 5 spot. It's a small tweak to the lineup, but an interesting one. Thompson smacks it back up the box into center. Justin Turner goes first to third. Thompson with a wide turn holds on with a single. That snaps it 0 for 10 for Trace and puts runners at the corners here in the first inning.
Trace Thompson has done a lot of work through spring training early in the season to develop his swing. He hunts the ball in the outer half, but now can really turn on the ball in, which gives him outstanding plate coverage, and right there showing a little bat control, beating the shift.
Second time that he's hit cleanup this year. He hit cleanup a couple of weeks ago, and Gonzalez moved up and hit third in a game where Justin Turner was off. Well, this is the first time that Gonzalez has hit fifth. With that average at 268, its lowest mark of the season. So Thompson snaps an 0 for 10. Gonzalez trying to snap an 0 for 13. Started him with a slider, strike 1.
You know, we've seen the youth start to take over on the offensive side of the ball for the Dodgers, with Corey Seager and Trace Thompson, Jock Peterson showing off his power in this series with a couple home runs. And there is a transition that starts on a ball club where the older guys might not end up being the stars anymore, but they start to play different roles. And we might be starting to see the beginning of that transition for Adrian.
That one kicks away and allows Thompson to advance to second. And Adrian Gonzalez has a chance to put the Dodgers up 2-0 with a base hit here.
The slider that Corbin likes to throw is his out pitch right there, just a little too low, and kicks away and pick up 90 feet and put 2 guys in scoring position.
Turner's taken really big leads because of the way the infield is tilted against the left-handed batting Gonzalez. Rule of thumb is that you take as large of a lead that matches the distance of the nearest fielder to the bag.
Yes, and then you have to watch your secondary lead after the ball is delivered, because when the catcher knows that you're taking that big a lead and has a signal with the third baseman, let's say, that we're going to throw a ball here on purpose, and the fielder then leaves this position and starts to come get you. So you can take the initial long lead, but you usually don't extend it with a secondary lead.
2 on, 2 out in the first, and a 1-1. Adrian Gonzalez last night went 0 for 5, struck out 4 times in that game. It was his first 4 strikeout game since 2010. Looking for his first hit since that go-ahead home run in the 10th inning Saturday in San Francisco. Castillo sets away. Corbin misses away. Turner hustling back to the bag with Castillo popping to his feet. And Drury sliding in behind Turner. Corbin's 2-2, and Gonzalez takes strike 3 over the outside corner. The Dodgers leave runners at second and third. Clayton Kershaw takes the mound. His 14th start of the season begins when you come back. Clayton Kershaw on some of those 13 strikeouts that he fired against the Giants his last time. A 1.52 ERA to lead baseball, and the 3rd best earned run average through 13 games in Dodger history. Only Don Drysdale in 1968. Sandy Koufax in 1966 had a better mark through 13 starts. Gets it going against Gene Segura with strike 1.
And Clayton has picked up right where he left off, leaving May as the National League Pitcher of the Month. So far in June, 2-0 with a 1.28, 17 strikeouts, and only 1 walk.
Overall this year, 122 strikeouts and 6 walks. And he's ahead of Segura 1 and 2. So that strikeout to walk ratio about 20-1 right now. Major league record 11.5 to 1. Phil Hughes of the Twins a couple years ago. To the first 13 games of a season, here are the best strikeout to walk ratios in the past century. Brett Radke, by the way, finished that 05 season with a 5-1.
So what you're saying, it's really hard to maintain.
Unless you're him. Gene Segura leading things off for the D-backs and striking out. So Kershaw sits down Segura, who's now 6 of 9 in the series. And up comes Brandon Drury, part of this Diamondbacks lineup. It is his first at-bat of this series. And Paul Goldschmidt out of the 3 spot. Ricky Weeks makes his first start. Wellington Castillo and Yasmani Tomas both back in there after having last night off. Kershaw's first one to the rookie Drury is a strike. Nope, inside, ball 1.
Drury in there because they're trying to load the lineup with as many right-handed hitters as possible against Clayton. Left-handed hitters have struck out 40 times in 93 plate appearances against Clayton Kershaw. That's 43% of them have struck out. That is number 1 of 143 qualifiers in the league.
Broken bat pop up. And Corey Seager is there. Justin Turner bailing out of the way of that shard of the barrel, flinging in his direction.
The bat and the ball go about the same distance as Clayton gets in there.
Look out. That thing is sharp. 2 up, 2 down. These are the kind of matchups that make baseball great. Clayton Kershaw and Paul Goldschmidt, who have met a bunch over their careers. And you see his career line against Kershaw. He's at .250, and he's homered twice. Greatest pitcher of this generation against one of the great hitters in the game right now. And one of the hottest hitters in the game, 377 over a 19-game on-base streak. 2-1. "23 home runs against the Dodgers in his career. That's the most of any active player. Although the Dodgers have done a pretty good job against him in the 2 series this year. He's only 3 for 20. On 2-1. Goldschmidt pulls it foul.
You have to tip your hat to the Dodger pitching staff and the job they've done, but you also have to remember that Paul Goldschmidt went through a little bit of a tailspin at the beginning of the year and is now coming out of it. So this has been the largest challenge they've had as a staff in facing him because he's hot right now.
Even with the slow start, he's number 2 in the National League in on-base percentage, behind only Ben Zobrist of the Cubs. So the high on-base percentage to go with the 12 home runs. Kershaw wins the first battle with a fastball at 94. And a 1-2-3 first inning for Kershaw. Couple of more strikeouts for the left-hander. will lead off the second inning for the Dodgers. No score in the third game of this three-game set between the West Division opponents. Splitting the first two. 3-2 D-backs on day one. 7-4 Dodgers last night. Little bloop shot into center to begin the inning. And Howie Kendrick has his third hit of the series, and we welcome you inside our broadcast booth for the first time today, Joe and Oral. And anytime you can get a win to even the series up and you get to send Clayton Kershaw back out there, you feel pretty good about yourselves on getaway day.
Very comfortable with the fact that you can have a road trip of 500 and get away from the sting of the San Francisco Giant loss in that series. And I'll tell you what, get a little blooper out there, get some guys on base, and now we just need some more hits with runners in scoring position.
Scott Van Slyke making the start with the left-handed pitcher on the mound. He's had 2 hits in this series. They're his first 2 hits since the opening road trip of the year. Scott went down on the DL with a back injury. And working his way back into the rotation here these last couple of weeks. 2-0.
Scott's always been a huge bat against left-handed pitching, either off the bench or starting. And actually, before his injury, was really starting to look like he could be an everyday player at the big league level. Made great strides in his consistency and his approach in the batter's box. Has always been a good, solid defender.
Drafted in 2005 by the Dodgers. Out of high school in Missouri, grew up in the St. Louis area. Made his big league debut in 2012. Led the team in slugging 2 years ago. You mentioned when he really emerged. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And then last year, similar to this year, fought through injuries. Had back problems last year as well. There was a sore wrist late in the season that kept him off of the postseason roster. But when healthy, this is a good player. And he chases here, strike 3. Corbin has his third punch out, 1 gone in the second.
Used the changeup right there, a pitch that he worked really hard in spring training to develop. Something that he wants to keep with him, but it kind of took away from the effectiveness of the slider as he threw more and more changeup, so he's had to back off on the use of it.
A.J. Ellis back in his familiar spot doing the catching for Kershaw. And he swings and lifts a fly ball to left. Weeks comes on and is there for out number 2. They started Yasmani Grandal for Kershaw's last start. Kershaw was facing off with Johnny Cueto, and Dave Roberts liked the idea of the chance that Yasmani Grandal would bring him some additional offense. And a game the Dodgers eventually won on a late Justin Turner homer. Kershaw's first at bat of the day comes with Kendrick at first and 2 gone. Strike 1.
Can't fall asleep on Clayton's offense. Either one of these starting pitchers today are both great athletes and very solid hitters. Corbin comes into the game hitting .344.
It's the best hitting pitching staff in baseball. Diamondbacks are. Zach Greinke, one of the great hitters among pitchers the last few years. Comes the 1-1. That's slider, 1 and 2.
We had an interesting stat. Clayton's last game in San Francisco was at the 5 out of the last 8 starts. He had either driven in the first run or scored the first run in those games.
Or had the first hit.
Yeah, or had the first hit. Both sides of the ball.
It's a small part of making the case for him as the MVP. Not an automatic out when he goes up there at the plate. Waits on this 2-2 from Corbin. He misses away with a fastball. The count's full. Kendrick will get a head start.
Right on the edge. Good take right there. Going to turn the lineup over no matter what. But it would be nice to turn it over and get another runner in scoring position right here. Get on base.
There goes Howie. Kershaw protects. It's a really good crowd in here today for a day game.
Guaranteed 70 degrees.
That's true.
Not many people playing outdoors right now.
Lots of kids in the ballpark today. Another 3-2, and Kershaw takes ball 4. Corbin nibbles against Kershaw and shows you the reputation that Kershaw has with his ability to swing it.
Adrian Gonzalez got punched out on the same type of pitch, but his was probably on the corner. That one, Clayton taking it with a great eye.
So for the second time in as many innings, the Dodgers have 2 men on base. Let's see if they can cash in this time with Kike Hernandez. Lined out to right his first time up. Starts him with a slider, strike 1. Kike looking for his first hit of this trip. He's 0 for 6. On 0-1, Hernandez bounces it gently to third for Drury. And the Dodgers have stranded 4 over the first 2 innings of this game. Out of the bottom of the second, Clayton Kershaw back out there after this. The owner of 3 Cy Young Awards and an MVP, and even better this year in 2016. Trying to reach 10 wins at the earliest date that he's ever done so. And by a few weeks, he reached 10 wins on July 4th, 2 years ago. And here we are on, what, the 15th of June? And Kershaw sitting at 9-1 with the best earned run average in baseball. Worked the 1-2-3 first inning. Bookend strikeout. Segura and Goldschmidt. And now gets Ricky Weeks Jr. to begin the second.
You talked about day game after a night game, but everybody still had a little pep in their step because Clayton was on the mound, and the impact that he has on the team statistically, but emotionally, of the intensity that he brings to the game and the expectation of a win and the accountability of they know he does everything in his power to be the best, and that brings the team a lot of focus.
Is 0-1 to Weeks with Ellis setting inside, is hammered to left field, down the line, curling, gone. Weeks hits his fourth of the season, and Arizona strikes first.
He's human, and he's going fastball in, trying to get it in off the plate, and AJ has to reach back for it, so it ends up being a fastball down the middle, and Weeks hits the mistake. And you better not miss it, because he doesn't make many of them, and Weeks didn't.
It's the 6th home run that he's allowed this year in his 100 innings. And Wellington Castillo takes a strike. Castillo with an awkward swing, and it's 0-2. Second start of the series for him. Started the opener. Came off of the bench last night and struck out against Kenley Jansen in the 9th. As Jansen struck out this side for the first time this year. Clayton's 0-2. Produces his 3rd strikeout of the game. Take a look at the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts for this afternoon. The National League West is interesting in that you have 3 ballparks that are extreme pitcher parks in Dodger Stadium, AT&T Park, and Petco Park. And then you have the 2 that are the most hitter-friendly parks in the National League, in Coors Field and Chase Field. And for Kershaw in his career, only Coors Field has been worse on him statistically.
Has a lot to do with the air and how the pitches break, and of course the confidence of the hitters.
The list of guys that he's allowed home runs to is a really interesting list. There's really only one slugger on there. That is Giancarlo Stanton, who got him in his only loss of the season. Got Madison Bumgarner on that list, who's done it to him multiple times in his career. The only pitcher that has. 1-2 on Yasmani Tomas. Matt Duffy got him in his last start. Duffy's not having a very good year, not known as a power guy. Ricky Weeks Jr. is a bench player who just went deep off of him now. Asdrubal Cabrera hit one against him in New York. And Ehire Adrianza in San Francisco in his 2nd start of the year. Tomas fans at a breaking ball for strike 3.
Hitters, when they get a home run off a pitcher, they say, I got him in my book. I got him in my book. And then after you retire, you run into him on the street or at the mall or at an old timers game or something, and you go, I got you in my book. Clayton's not in many books.
No. Your book has one pitcher from a spring training game in
it. That's it.
Nick Ahmed goes after the first pitch, figuring that'll be the best chance that he has against Clayton, and flies to center to end the second. But Ricky Weeks Jr. with a leadoff home run against Kershaw, and the Diamondbacks lead 1-0. with the roof closed, 100 degrees outside, but comfortable here inside. Joe Davis, Orel Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, as the Dodgers try to take this series and finish the road trip 3-3. Big part of the reason for the couple of wins on this trip has been this guy, Justin Turner, who has 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and a walk so far today. The home run last night, his longest as a big leaguer. Patrick Corbin back to work. Bottom of the zone for strike 1. Corbin in his first full season back from Tommy John. He was an all-star when he was 23 years old in 2013. Went 14-8 that season. But then had Tommy John and missed the entire 2014 campaign. First half of last year. Didn't return until July. Made 13 starts. Turner digs one out of the dirt, flies it to left, and it keeps going off of the wall. Weeks played it horribly. Turner on his way to second, throws in time, and they got him. That was just a funky play all around.
Bob Guerin on the phone to see if they want to look at the replay, but Turner coming off the field like he knows he was out. One hands this breaking ball down and in. Weeks played it off the wall after he misread it. Looks like the left hand might have got in there, but Justin misses the bag with the first hand, and then the second hand comes in. I think that's where he gets tagged out. Weeks broke in, took it off the wall, and makes an accurate enough and quick throw to get him.
Dave Roberts just gave the signal to play on. So Turner thrown out trying to turn a single into a double after Weeks turned a fly out into a single. Corey Seager looks at a ball. Struck out his first time, still looking for his first hit against Corbin in 6 career matchups. 1-1.
You were reviewing Patrick Corbin's history. How about going back to his junior year in high school and the outfit he showed up to the tryout in?
Yeah, he had not played for his high school team over his first 2 years in high school, then showed up to a tryout in jeans as a junior.
And he was late for the tryout.
And said, I think I can pitch.
Yeah, he said, what are you going to try out for? He just on a whim said, pitcher.
And it wasn't until early on in his college career that he really started to blossom. He did 1 year of JUCO ball in the JUCO hotbed that is New York. And then moved down to Florida for a season of junior college ball, and that's when he really took off as a prospect. He gets Seager for his 4th strikeout over the first 3 innings. Dodger fans, time's running out to get that perfect Father's Day gift at the best price. You can treat Dad to a Dodger game this Sunday. Tickets in all areas are on sale, discounted up to 60%. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive Dodger boxers, compliments of Chef Marito's seasonings. The big thing is that after the game you can go down to the field and play catch. But the sale ends today at 5 o'clock, so make sure that you hurry up and take advantage of the 60% off across the park.
So you bring your gloves and your ball to the ballpark. You got a chance to catch a foul ball or a home run if you're out in the bleachers. And then you get to go down on the field after the game and have a lifelong memory of playing catch with your child. And to this day, I can still think about playing catch with my dad and playing catch with my mom when my dad was on business trips and Mom would fill in.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Trace Thompson. Singled his first time.
One of my #1 memories was my dad getting home from a business trip and watching him pull up to the Little League field out in left field or right field and getting out of the car and taking off his tie, rolling up his sleeves and coming down to coach our team even though he wasn't in town that day.
Patrick Corbin seems to be settling in. 5 strikeouts over 3 scoreless innings. A lot of Kershaw jerseys around the park today and every day. 1-0 Arizona to the bottom of the 3rd. The lone run coming on a home run from Ricky Weeks against Kershaw. Look at this everywhere. There's Kershaw shirts and jerseys. He starts this inning with a strike to Patrick Corbin. Chip Hill continues to hit his pitchers 8th. Part of that is because they're such good hitting pitchers. Other than 2 on Corbin, who's hitting .344 this year with a pair of doubles and a triple.
He's having a good year with the bat. Great athlete. Career 165 hitter. So this is a fast start for him.
What you're saying is Patrick Corbin's not going to sustain that .344 batting title line, huh?
There's a possibility.
Could see some regression there.
Yeah.
Somehow he hit that ball. It's almost as if he pinned it between the ground and his bat to stay alive.
He didn't want to be part of the 43% of left-handed hitters off of Clayton Kershaw this year that strike out. League average for left-handed on left-handed is 20%. And Clayton has doubled that. Same kind of emergency hack that Clayton used off of Corbin in his at-bat before he worked a walk.
Corbin leading off this 3rd inning and bouncing one to 3rd that backs up Turner. Strong arm to get a pretty good runner in Corbin for out number 1. Clayton Kershaw allowed that home run to Weeks on a fastball, which is significant because against San Francisco on Saturday, the Giants were 0 for 14 against his fastball. They swung 30 times. They missed 15 of them. It was the highest miss percentage in any one start in Kershaw's career. 50% of the fastballs they swung at, they missed. Is 1-0 to Michael Bourne. Fouled off down the left field line, and it's 1-1. Kershaw with the opponent's average against the fastball as the year has gone on. And in the couple starts in June, thanks largely to that 0 for 14 performance in San Francisco, below 100. 1-2 on Bourne.
You're getting an opportunity to swing at a fastball, Clayton, because he throws a lot of strikes. He attacks. He's sensitive to his pitch count, and he's also sensitive to wanting to go deep in the game. He's not one to waste a lot of pitches. He doesn't try and intimidate hitters by pitching them in off the plate and hitting them. He just says, I've got good stuff and I'm going to pour it in the zone.
Bourne lays off. The count is full. 4 more strikeouts so far today, no walks. So the ratio for the season is now 126 and 6. 127 and 6. 5 Ks today for Kershaw. 2 gone in the third.
You're accomplishing great things. Sometimes stuff can creep into your head, like starting to think about results before you execute. Clayton Kershaw, knowing his own strikeout to walk ratio, doesn't let any of that bother him. He just pours in that fastball.
Here is Gene Segura, who pulls the first pitch that he sees to Justin Turner. That's a 1-2-3 inning for Clayton Kershaw. On to the fourth in Phoenix. Dodgers down 1-0. On Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the Dodge Challenger. Test drive one at your local Dodge dealer today. And by Jack in the Box. It's back. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. Don Drysdale, Sandy Koufax. The only 2 guys that have had a better ERA through 13 starts in a season than Clayton Kershaw has right now. Drysdale during the 1968 season that included the scoreless inning streak. Koufax during his final season, 1966. Those guys had better earned run averages through their first 13 starts than Kershaw, but those are the only 2 in Dodger history. 0-2 on Adrian Gonzalez.
Some rare air that young man is in.
ERA for him coming into the game 1.52. Through 13 starts for Koufax in 66, it was 1.44. In 68 for Drysdale, it was 1.21. Drysdale, despite having the scoreless inning streak that year, didn't win the Cy Young because of what many consider the greatest season ever pitched by Bob Gibson. Corbin delivers 1-2 and misses away. Koufax did win the Cy Young. During the 1966 season, third time in 4 years, and it's what prompted baseball to start giving one away to each league instead of just having one. Wasn't fair. Sandy was stealing them all.
And if history repeats itself or someone's track record tells you about how they're going to do as the months roll on, Clayton Kershaw from July to October in his career is 44 games over 500, 69-25. And he's hot here in June. So with this fast start that he's having, he has always been a better second half pitcher than a first half pitcher.
Good to see Adrian Gonzalez get aboard here with a walk to start the fourth inning. And it brings up Howie Kendrick, who singled his first time. Now, Kershaw is the only pitcher ever to finish top 3 in Cy Young voting 5 consecutive seasons. He's runner-up in 2012 to R.A. Dickey, which is a few years down the road when it's a little more removed from memory going to be a great piece of trivia. Who did Clayton Kershaw lose out on in 2012? Because R.A. Dickey would not be one of the names that will be the knee-jerk for most people. And then last year finishing third behind Arrieta and Greinke. 2-0 on Howie.
We saw this yesterday with the Dodger offense, that it took them a while to kind of get on track. Here they've had some traffic. Yesterday Archie Bradley no-hit them for 4 innings. And then Jock Peterson broke it open with a solo shot that seemed to open the floodgates.
Kendrick bounces what should be 2 and is. 6-4-3. Brings up Scott Van Slyke with the bases empty. Van Slyke, one of 5 strikeout victims for Corbin so far. And he pulls a liner to left center that'll sink in for a base hit. Kind of a humpback liner. Van Slyke trying for 2, and he's going to get it. Scott Van Slyke hustling out of the box. And with Weeks taking his time getting to the ball, Van Slyke turns it into a double.
You saw 2 problems out there in left field from Weeks. Not only the pace at which he attacks the ball, but then the trajectory of the throw, and seeing that the cutoff man, the shortstop Ahmed, is going to receive this, so there has to be a transfer also. Just a nice ease. He was about 15 steps around first base. He got the first read on Weeks right here, and then he gets the second read right about there where he sees the trajectory of the throw, and he says, I can make it, and I know there's 2 outs.
And you love those kinds of plays. Been seeing quite a few plays like that from the Dodgers lately. A.J. Ellis takes a strike. Think back to Trace Thompson on Saturday, tagging up from first on a fly out to left, taking second base to set up a run for the Dodgers in that game. Let's see if Van Slyke's hustle can lead to a tie game here in the 4th. Corbin's 0-1 to A.J. Ellis. He drives a fly ball to the opposite field. Tomas is there, and the inning is over. Corbin able to pitch around. The 2-out double from Van Slyke. Middle 4, 1-0. the second inning home run against Kershaw. That's all. The only base runner. Bottom of the fourth inning in a 1-0 game. Kershaw has 5 strikeouts and is ready to face Drury, Goldschmidt, and then again Weeks. 2, 3, and 4 in the Arizona lineup. Drury quietly having one of the best rookie seasons in baseball this year. That averaged 3rd among rookies, behind Aledmys Diaz of the Cardinals and Corey Seager of the Dodgers. That's a new bat than Drury took up there his first time. Kershaw destroyed the first one that he brought up on a pop out to 3rd. Got into the hands again, bounced to 3rd, 1 gone. Paul Goldschmidt comes up with the bases clear. Kershaw struck him out on a high fastball the first time.
Clayton has thrown a lot of strikes. He's thrown 40 pitches now, 30 of them for strikes, but a few to Goldschmidt he was missing. But he finds a way, even against the best hitters, to get back into the count and to finish him off. Right there, comes in with a cutter, then a fastball, and finishes him off with the high fastball back at the same place where he went to ball 3.
Starts him with a fastball at 93 for strike 1. Fastball again, strike 2.
Hitters with average bat speed, Clayton just eats up inside. Goes fastball, and he goes fastball into those guys and cutter. With Paul Goldschmidt, he knows Paul's quick enough in there, can react to the fastball and can hurt him. He stays away from him all 3 pitches there. Couple fastballs away, and then when you can make one of the best hitters in baseball look like that, you must be the best pitcher on the planet.
Yep, something to that. He's gotten Goldschmidt on strikes both times, once with a fastball, once with an off speed. Here's today's nemesis, though, Weeks. Homered his first time and shoots a soft liner to right center that is down for a base hit. Weeks on his way to second. Van Slyke's throw, not in time. 2 base runners for the Diamondbacks. Weeks with a home run and a double.
You just have a feeling when Weeks hits this ball in the gap and Van Slyke is the fielder that they're going to say turnabout's fair play. Van Slyke picked up a 2-out double off of Weeks' laziness. Van Slyke hustles over there. This one's more in the gap. Scott makes an accurate throw, and it looks like Weeks just gets in there in time. Couple of 2-out hustle doubles from the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers.
Really good throw, though, from Van Slyke.
Always had a very accurate arm, a really good outfielder, and did not play that ball softly like Weeks did on his ball to left field. Scott played it perfectly.
Bob Guerin on the phone with the Dodger video man John Pratt. That's a job that you don't think about, that is loaded with pressure in those situations, and something new to the game over the last couple of years, and that you've gone from being more than just the guy that cuts up the video and helps the guys see what they want to actually playing a role potentially in the outcome of the game as you relay the decision to the bench coach in most situations, who relays it to the manager if you should use that challenge or not. Wellington Castillo taking ball 1. Kershaw working out of the stretch for the first time today, pumping a 1-0 pitch, and Castillo taking it low.
For Clayton, you know in the back of your mind the offense has struggled of late. Busted out yesterday for 7. 2-out, man on second, first base open. He's going to do anything he can to prevent that run from scoring.
Here's the 2-1. 2-2.
If the hitters cheat on Clayton's dominance inside, even the fastball down the middle can beat him because they're opening up so quickly. The bat gets long and drops, and he beats him right down the middle, slightly up.
Got him with a back foot slider for his 7th strikeout, and able to strand the week's double. Still 1-0.
Due up second in this inning, looking to give Clayton Kershaw, the leadoff man in this inning, some run support. And you might notice that Kike Hernandez, the dew looks a little bit different. Came into the clubhouse yesterday clean shaven, said he was looking for the Trace Thompson effect. Of course, after Trace shaved his head, he got into a tear offensively. He was joking, said he needed to change things up, but he's also doing it for a good cause. Unfortunately, Kike's father, Enrique, is undergoing some cancer treatment, and Kike wanted to show the support for his father while he is in that battle, guys.
All right, great stuff. Thanks, Alana. As you said, he'll bat second behind Kershaw in this inning, who looks at a strike from Patrick Corbin. Kershaw walked on a full count pitch his first time. Corbin deals. Strike 2. Dodgers plenty of traffic against Corbin so far. 4 hits, 3 walks, but they've left 5 over the first 4. And a 1-0 deficit here in the 5th. 1 gone. Six Ks for Corbin. Back to the top for Kike Hernandez.
Left fielder, Kike Hernandez.
It's weird seeing him without that hair.
Yeah, and our best wishes out to his father, battling the terrible disease of cancer, and all those out there watching this that are battling it. Lost my mom to ovarian cancer last July 3rd. So it is a lot of pressure on a family. You just hope that you can conquer it. I'm sure Kike's thoughts are with his dad. Love to put a smile on his face with a hit right here.
And could you think of a better son to have when you're dealing with something like that than the personality that Kike has?
He definitely lights up a room. Reminds me a little bit of Steve Sachs that I played with, that just always keep a team loose, but really plays super hard between the lines.
Big bounce to the third. Tough bounce picked by Drury. That's a heck of a play. 2 out.
That's where it's easier to pitch at the big league level than it is at the minor league level, because they don't all make this play. The defense behind you up here, he is absolutely amazing, and you absolutely love it when you're on the mound.
So Corbin cruising along much like he was against the Marlins in his last start, when he went into the 7th inning and left the game with a 5-1 lead, but the bullpen promptly allowed a grand slam. And so his final line is last time 4 runs over 6 1/3. Ball 1 to Justin Turner. Justin has reached both times, continuing this emergence. A walk and a single, although he was thrown out trying to turn that single into a double. See if he gets one to drive on this 2-0. Could tie it with 1 swing. Swings, and it's a fly ball to deep center field. Bourne is back at the wall to make the play.
Justin did give it a ride. He just happened to hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark at 413, and Bourne keeps it a 1-0 Arizona game.
Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Toyota's Summer Drive sales event is going on now, where you can save big on the all-new Prius. That picture was taken 10 years ago this coming Monday at Dodger Stadium after Clayton Kershaw was drafted. That's very young-looking Matt Kemp welcoming in Clayton to the Dodgers after they drafted him 7th overall at a high school in Texas. Yasmani Tomas down to the count 0-2. Kershaw has 7 Ks. Only 2 base runners for Arizona, both Ricky Weeks, a solo homer and a double. Tomas 0 for 1. Struck out his first time. Waits on a 1-2. And takes it in the dirt. 2-2. 129 strikeouts, 6 walks. Otherworldly. Barely got a piece. We'll do it again.
And with those strikeouts, the most amazing thing to me is that he has the lowest pitches per inning than anybody in the big leagues too.
Isn't that an amazing note?
It's just unheard of. It's almost mathematically impossible. As many pitches it takes to strike people out, and he still has the fewest pitches per inning.
Well, normally when you see the guys with the low pitches per inning, it's because they really attack and pitch to contact. He attacks, it's just nobody can hit what he's attacking with.
And it's usually like a ground ball guy where he doesn't throw with exceptional velocity, so the hitters are anxious to hit off the guy, and they're trying to make him get the ball up, and the guy gets early count ground balls. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys. Well, look at that reaction right there. That's not giving up a run. That's not giving up a base runner. That's a breaking ball that he slipped out of his hand and he didn't execute, and he wants to throw every pitch perfect.
8th pitch of this at bat. And Tomas really working him.
Well, 49 pitches through the first 4 innings. So you see the average pitches per inning is way low. This one is 8 pitches for this at bat. This is a marathon for Clayton.
This is his 4th 3-ball count. But again, yet to issue a walk today. Tomas, Ahmed, Corbin, and a 1-0 game in the 5th. Kershaw delivering 3-2. Just misses with ball 4.
No, that's a strike. AJ setting up inside. He misses the target and throws it on the outer half of the plate, and it is right there. Wow. It's right there. It's a basic solid strike. It's not even on the edge. It's just right there. I don't get it. The guy has a reputation for throwing strikes and not walking people. You're supposed to get that pitch, and you're supposed to get it no matter what your reputation is.
Sam Holbrook, as per usual, umpires get their name said only when they make a mistake. Nick Ahmed bounces one to second. Howie's got it, turns and delivers. Seager fires for the double play, and just like that, the walk doesn't matter one bit. 2 gone.
That's a great play by Howie, ranging to his left and throwing back across his body with the pivot, and then there are 2 arms on the field that can throw the ball 94 miles an hour, and one is right there by Corey Seager. He guns it over there to get Ahmed, who runs well. Clayton excited to get that defense behind him.
And like we've talked about during this road trip, in a season where the offense has not been what anybody expected it would, starting pitching outside of Kershaw has been a little bit inconsistent. It's the defense that has been there from day one, making this team by just about any measure, any way you want to try and put a number to this defense, one of the best in baseball.
And you can't overlook the fact that Howie Kendrick this year is not playing a lot of second base. He's getting his reps in left field, at third base, and there he is. He goes back to his original position where he has been an outstanding fielder, and without those reps, making a key double play that you don't see very often, even when you're playing there every day.
.62 pitches through 4 2/3. 3-1 on Corbin. Corbin shows bunt and takes a strike at 94.
Yeah, it's hump day in the work week, Wednesday. There's hump innings for starting pitchers when all of a sudden your energy level changed a little bit. 4th or 5th inning. Right here, starting to deal with a little different energy level, but he finishes it off.
Corbin flies out to left, and the inning is over. Kershaw faces the minimum thanks to the double play. Corey Seager set the lead off the 6th. Let's see if the offense can get going like they did in the 6th inning last night in a 1-0 game. Dodger fans head to the game tomorrow. First 40,000 fans there will get a retired number pin presented by 76. This one is number 4, Duke Snider. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions to learn more, get those tickets to the series opener against the Brewers. Plenty of Dodger fans in attendance here in Phoenix for Game 3 of this series. Series rubber match. Dodgers 6-2 on rubber matches so far this year. Patrick Corbin sweeps one in for a strike on Seager, who he struck out both times so far today, and has retired all 7 times they've met up in their careers.
Doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed when you're facing Corey Seager. His splits are about equal. Second in batting average in all National League rookies, only behind Diaz of St. Louis. Second in home runs to Trevor Story. Story's got 17, Corey's got 15. Second in RBIs with 36.
Got him. That is 3 strikeouts against Seager, and as many times up there today. 1 gone in the 6th. Welcome you back inside. Getting what you expect out of Clayton Kershaw, but still waiting for that offense to get going.
Yeah, and right here with the young guys kind of juggling the order today. Corey Seager just struck out. Trace Thompson coming up there is up there in the lead categories for rookies also. Home runs and RBIs, and he's doing it with a few less at bats. Corey's had a few more opportunities, but Trace is now a full-fledged, full-time player, whether it's going to be center field, right field, even left field.
With a 4 home run night last night for the Dodger offense, since May 11th, the Dodgers lead the National League in homers, and entering that date, they were second to last. Only the Braves had hit fewer. That stretch all started when Trace Thompson hit a walk-off pinch hit home run against the Mets. And in that stretch, nobody in baseball has hit more homers than Seager. 13 since May 11th. Corbin to Thompson with a 1-1. Trace dribbles one to short. Ahmed circles around it and throws him out.
Third time in around the order. Corbin was using his slider the first couple times around, but right there throws back-to-back changeups, gets Trace out in front. Be high-level pitching right there.
Adrian 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Walked his last time. Takes ball 1. Dodgers have had at least 1 base runner in every inning except the 5th. And Corbin trying to work another 1-2-3 here in the 6th. Ball's foul and it's 1-1. Well, in last night's game, Dodgers got 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th to win 7-4 after they were no hit through 4 1/3. So let's see if they can get a similar late wake-up call today. Only with a 1-run deficit right now with Kershaw on the mound. 2-1. Gonzalez hitting 5th for the first time this year. 2-2.
Dave Roberts moving him down to the 5th hole. Also choosing not to give him a day off against the lefty today, but he's seen Corbin a lot in the 16 at bats coming into this game. He's hitting 250 off him with a home run. And Adrian, who's used his boxing as his off-season training part of his training program, he would rather fight his way out of a slump and out of a corner than you know, just to take a day off and think, oh, I need to take a breath. So he'll punch his way out of this one.
On 3-2. Taps it foul, stays alive.
Sometimes a manager has to pull the trigger and sit a guy down even when he doesn't want to, but Dave Roberts and Adrian's relationship is very deep, going back to the San Diego days, and Dave really trusts his communication with Adrian when he really feels that he needs an off day.
Another 3-2, and Corbin has him smack one to left center. That's a base hit. And Adrian Gonzalez snaps an 0 for 14.
A Morongo Casino slow-mo cam. The resort there at Morongo appreciates this base hit as Adrian stays down and through it. A left-on-left situation, protecting against the breaking ball, staying on the fastball away, which he punched out on in his first at-bat. Beautiful look from Morongo Casino Resort and Spa slow-mo cam.
Keeps it alive for Howie Kendrick, who takes ball one. Nomar's going to have a hard time getting that back when he comes back, isn't he?
He can try.
Right, so yes, he's going to have a hard
So we'll
time.
be fighting over the card.
Howie bangs a base hit into left. Back-to-back two-out singles for the Dodgers, and Scott Van Slyke will have a chance to even the issue here in the sixth.
Before the offensive explosion yesterday for 7 runs, the story was hitting with runners in scoring position, and that's what the Dodgers are going to need today. They've had that traffic like that's on the 405 that I battle sometimes, and all of us.
I will
just
soon.
need to reach the destination. The commute has been hard, but we need some destinations.
You are just full of it today, aren't you? You got all kinds of.
I've had 3 cups of green tea, and there's more caffeine than that than those Starbucks that you won't order properly.
Small, medium, large.
Grande Vente.
Nope.
You got a lot of support on Twitter after that conversation.
I felt really happy with that. I'm not alone in not using their sizes. 2 on and 2 out for Van Slyke. Takes ball one. He's 1 for 2 today. A strikeout and a double. A hustle double on what was a routine base hit to left center.
Scott has been hunting the slider down and into him, and has looked foolish on some balls away, and then stayed on one away, got a hit.
Swing and a drive left field. That ball is gone, and the Dodgers take the lead on one loud swing from Van Slyke.
He has feasted on left-handed pitching throughout his career, to the point where he's gotten time against righties. Now off the DL, hunting something inside, especially a breaking ball. But a reaction swing on an inside fastball puts Kershaw and the Dodgers on top.
First of the year for Van Slyke. 3 consecutive 2-out hits for the Dodgers. Gonzalez, Kendrick, and Van Slyke, and a 3-1 lead for Kershaw. Now A.J. Ellis taking ball one.
The long ball story continues for the Dodgers. And it's nice that it's not a solo shot. Scott Van Slyke getting back into the swing of things, and this will make you feel real good about coming off the DL, getting some playing time and contributing to your team and to one of your best friends on the mound. Clayton Kershaw enjoyed this as much as Slick did.
Ellis in the air to right. Tomas towards the corner. Almost overran it, but makes the play. First two in the inning were retired by Corbin. The Dodgers are still in a 1-0 hole. Then back-to-back singles. Then way back off of the bat of Van Slyke. 3-1. The rankings not higher. Home runs per game by ballpark this year. Chase Field is only 5th.
Well, they rarely open, and that's when, you know, when they open the roof and the windows, that's when it really carries here. So plays a little fairer when we're playing it like today. 70 degrees indoors, a touch over 100 outdoors.
So Clayton Kershaw back out there with a lead. Aren't too many better sounding statements than that if you're a Dodger fan. Michael Bourne, though, greets him with a base hit into center. Bob Brenly, who used to manage here, managed Arizona to a World Series title a couple of decades ago, said that pitchers used to hate, and I'm sure still do, used to hate pitching in here with the roof open. There's Bob Brenly, now the television analyst for the Diamondbacks. One time, a pitcher gave up a couple of home runs, came off of the field, and yelled into the dugout, "Close that dang roof." And so they told the umpire that there was a storm coming, and they had to hurry up and close the roof, or else they were going to get soaked. There was not a drop of rain in the forecast, but the umpire said okay and pulled the trigger on getting the thing closed. The pitcher got his way, and whether it's real or not, mentally he was fixed.
It was a real story, and it was a real pitcher, and the guy has a very good resume. No name to be disclosed. But the fib was that if the high winds come, we can't close the roof because, you know, it's dangerous to do it during high winds.
Right, so you got to do it.
We got to do it before the winds or the rain gets here.
So Clayton Kershaw with his 7 strikeouts, and now after the Van Slyke home run with a lead to try and settle in with and cruise from here.
And pitch around this base hit, the all-important shutdown inning that we talk about with so many other pitchers. You don't really talk about it with Clayton because he shuts them down every inning no matter what, but is important here.
Softly hit. It would be tough to get 2 here because Segura can really run. Kendrick gets the save out at first. Up to second goes Bourne, and 1 away. Drury's 0 for 2. Kershaw broke his bat on a pop out to short his first time, and again got in on his hands in the 4th inning, pulled a ground ball to 3rd. Bourne the runner at second. Kershaw's ready. First one to Drury will come after a move to second.
Bourne doesn't run quite as much with some hamstring problems that he's had. And you actually, when you see him run or jog back to a base after a foul ball, you'll see a little hitch in his giddy up. But Clayton's still paying close attention to him.
Yeah, Bourne won 3 National League stolen base titles. 61 in 2009 while he was with Houston. 52 the following year. 61 the year after that. But he's dealt with hamstring problems the last few seasons. Had hamstring surgery prior to the 2014 year. And hasn't been the same guy, like you said. Still, though, some raw speed in there. Kershaw's 1-0, and Drury takes it for a strike.
Really easier to steal third off a lefty than second. Lefties usually have pretty good moves. They're staring at the guy when they're on first, but when they're on second, as they turn to deliver the ball from home, their vision is cut short of what the runner is doing, so the runner at second can get a better jump off of a lefty than off of a righty.
Broke his bat again. That's 2 broken bats and 3 trips up, and he's lucky that he didn't break one his second time because Kershaw got way in on him that time.
Back in the 80s, late 70s, early 90s, screams from the Dodger bench when that happens. Lamp! Mark Cressy, the bullpen coach, used to take all the broken bats and turn them into bat lamps. And made a nice little side living from that, from big league bats turning into lamps.
See where he goes on 1-2. Just outside. What a great view that is of a Kershaw fastball at 93.
He has a tendency to get a liberal corner on the inside where he usually lives, but we've seen a few of those fastballs away missed as he lulls even the umpire asleep on where he might head.
Got Drury this time with a slider. Ellis will throw him out. That's strikeout number 8. First strikeout in a couple of innings for Clayton.
Good slider right here. Same pitch he started him off with. Drury on the 0-0 count didn't chase, but there with 2 strikes does. And a very interesting scenario right now, Joe, with Goldschmidt up and Weeks, who has gotten a home run and a double on Kershaw, on deck. So he's going to have to go tough against both of these guys here. Hopefully gets 1 out without giving up that run.
It's gotten Goldschmidt on strikeouts both times. Got him with a fastball and a long at bat the first time, and then retired him on 3 pitches on an off speed down and away his second time. 3-1 game in the 6th. Runner at second with 2 gone. In 2006, Clayton Kershaw was the Dodgers' first pick in the draft, 7th overall. They had 50 picks that year. The 49th was Paul Goldschmidt, out of high school in Texas. Decided to go to Texas State instead. And a few years later, the Diamondbacks got him in the 8th round. On 2-0. Goldschmidt lines one to deep left. Kike is back off the top of the wall. It's a long single, and it's 3-2. It misses going out by inches.
It's a cutter slash breaking ball that he hits, left up a little bit, and Goldschmidt gets the barrel on it. Just doesn't get it in where he wants to, and
wow.
Fans seem to reach over right there, and let's take a look. Yeah, that ball hits the top of the wall. It's got to clear the yellow line, I think. With as hard as it is to get runs off of Clayton Kershaw, the Diamondbacks still might take a shot at reviewing this.
I said it missed going out by inches. It might have missed going out by an inch. Hits that top of the wall at a different angle. And maybe bounces into the seats as opposed to back to Kike Hernandez.
And reaching over into the field of play. Does he make contact with it above the line? It looks like he does not deflect it at all. The ball has pretty clean flight right into the yellow line.
So the Diamondbacks missed tying this game by that much. Paul Goldschmidt with an RBI single, bringing home Bourne. And now he does have to deal with Weeks, who has homered and doubled against him. Exit velocity of 112 miles per hour on that one from Paul Goldschmidt. And again, if you're new to exit velocity, the average 87, 88 miles per hour.
Well, that one must have been a little lower than 22.5 degrees, because we've heard with launch angle that's what you about need to get a ball over the fence and hit it about 92, 93 miles an hour.
I think that's like the ideal 22,
right.
23. So I think it was way below that.
Way below
right?
that.
Yeah.
Probably more about 15 degrees.
Sun's out, guns out.
Really? Are you going there?
He went there. I just happened to say it. Kershaw tries to pick the first, and it gets by. And the tying run moves into scoring position in the 6th.
This is one of the bigger mental battles for a pitcher right here. You get the lead, you give up a hit to the star player with the base open, and now you throw a ball away from the mound. You've got to really check out on the emotions of what's kind of spiraling out of control and regain your composure and start to execute from the mound.
And having to deal with Weeks, who in his career against Kershaw is 7 of 19 now with 6 extra base hits. Nice stop by A.J. Ellis.
A.J. looking for the ball in. Clayton ending up being away. Quick on his feet back there to get in front of that one.
Here comes the 1-1. Outside corner, strike 2.
Home run and the double, they're starting to treat Weeks with a little bit more respect and going to the other side of the plate, where they do with Goldschmidt and others, right-handers that are tough that they can't bury inside.
Try to drop that curve over the outer half. Weeks took it.
Again, using the arm side of the plate for Clayton over there. Much more comfortable for him to come across his body and bury the fastballs and the breaking balls into righties, but moving away from Weeks.
Weeks in the air to center. Thompson is there, and the inning is over. Diamondbacks get one on a long single from Paul Goldschmidt. Kershaw remains in front 3-2 through 6. strikeouts over 6 innings. The 3 runs came on 1 swing from Scott Van Slyke after back-to-back 2-out singles from Gonzalez and Kendrick last inning. The Dodgers in front 3-2. And Clayton Kershaw, who's thrown 81 pitches today, comes out to bat, leading off the 7th. Now Corbin pitched into the 7th his last time against Miami, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, but he left that game with a 5-1 lead and the bases loaded. Tyler Clippard, their big offseason bullpen acquisition, came in and promptly allowed a grand slam that tied the game. Now the other piece of that story is that after the game, Corbin was quoted in the papers as saying that you just want somebody to trust you, maybe show some trust in the starter that they can work their way out of the jam. He said that after he allowed a double to Giancarlo Stanton to start that inning, he peeked over his shoulder and noticed down in the left field corner that the bullpen was stirring, and that threw off his concentration.
He kind of threw his manager and his pitching coach under the bus. I've never really realized that when you're a big leaguer standing on the mound that somebody warming up would be distracting you. I think it's a quote from frustration of having such a great game and then having the reliever give up all your runs and your possible victory, and it's something that the young man will probably look back and apologize for someday at 25 now.
And Chip Hale said it's fine if he feels that way, just would have preferred that he told that to him privately and not went into the press with it. 3-2, and Kershaw dribbles it up along first, foul. Corbin also said that the following day he went and apologized to the relievers that potentially were offended by those comments. That was one start after he outdueled Jake Arrieta to snap Arrieta's 20-game winning streak. 8th pitch of the AB, and Kershaw bounces to Segura. That helps run that pitch count of Corbin's up. Come see the Dodgers take on former Dodger Dusty Baker in the Nationals June 22nd. First 40,000 fans in attendance get a Dusty Baker bobblehead from Security Benefit. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions for more. Looks like a pretty cool giveaway there. Here comes Chip Hale. And that's going to do it. 103 pitches into the Arizona bullpen. Zach Godley comes sprinting in out of the left field corner to face the top of the Dodgers order in a 3-2 game. Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Carl's Jr., the California Classic Double Cheeseburger for just $2.49 at Carl's Jr. Patrick Corbin's day is finished. Back-to-back starts ending after 6 1/3. Those 7 strikeouts for him. Ties his season high. And he hands it off to the bullpen and Zach Godley, who is making his first relief appearance. He was called up to start against Miami on Saturday, went 6 innings and beat them, allowing 2 runs. Dave Roberts counters by pulling Jock Peterson off his bench for a lefty-righty matchup here. Playing the hot hand here in the 7th. And Jock remembers what he did last night, homering twice and a little bit over anxious on that first pitch.
This home run right here broke up the no-hitter by Archie Bradley, and this second one kept him on top. A changeup, fastball the first at bat, changeup the second at bat on both of them.
Jock hitting for Kike Hernandez. And quickly down 0-2. Kike goes 0 for 3 with a line out and 2 bounce outs. Godley facing Peterson. There's Jock's second multi-home run game of the year, 3rd of his career. Part of a 4-home run night for the Dodgers. Zach Greinke got the win in the first game of this series. 1-2 pitch. And Peterson swings over at strike 3.
That's a nasty split finger. Godley can get it up to about 94. It wasn't a split finger, it was a breaking ball. He's always had great movement and great life on his fastball and can really spin the ball. Came over from the Cubs in the Miguel Montero. The Diamondbacks traded their catcher away.
Justin Turner, another good day. A walk, a single, and a fly out to the wall in center. It's funny talking to Justin today. He noted that his exit velocity was better than either of Jock's home run exit velocities in last night's game. It's part of the clubhouse vernacular now.
Little banter.
How many times back in your career did you hear a guy talk about, hey, my exit velocity is better than yours?
Never.
Yeah, wasn't around then. And while it was around publicly last year, it's been around a little longer than that for clubs to have. And Major League Baseball making it public last year. And it seems like this year's starting to work its way into the mainstream as far as people having an understanding of it. And it being a regular part of some baseball conversations, even with the players themselves. Turner tries to lay off and does, and it's 2-2.
I like that sequence of calls right there. Home plate umpire not making the call. That's a tough check swing for a home plate umpire to read, and I think when it's in that gray area, they should automatically wait for the appeal. Hitters get really frustrated when that's called from behind the plate.
Turner drags it to third for Drury. Dodgers down in order in the 7th. Stretch time in Arizona. Godley racing all over the place. Pace yourself, brother. over to left field with Jock Peterson staying in the game after hitting. He's in center, Thompson to right. We go back to Van Slyke's home run. Our Carl's Cam replay. That's accounted for all the Dodgers scoring, and they lead 3-2.
Leading off for the D-backs, catcher Wellington.
Scott can play all three outfield positions like Trace Thompson, like Kike Hernandez, and I'm sure Jock Peterson could, but he's best out there in center field.
Clayton Kershaw back to work. There's strike one on Wellington Castillo. Kershaw, 8 more strikeouts, 1 walk today. That's news. Although the walk was on a full count pitch that our K-Zone showed us was clearly a strike by a few inches, just happened to miss his spot.
Walk with an asterisk.
So the ratio 130-7 now. Strikeouts to walks. And a 1-2. Bounce that one up there. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Castillo. Tomas and Ahmed to follow.
Well, if Clayton can be par for the course for today, he could definitely stay within his pitch count and get through the 8th. If he could get a little bit lower and stay closer to those numbers you see in the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th, he'd have a shot at completing this game.
Castillo with a high line drive to left that Van Slyke misreads. And Castillo's got a double to lead off the 7th.
High breaking ball from Clayton and a little false step from Scott Van Slyke in. Really 2 false steps. Saw that same read from Weeks Jr. out in left for the Diamondbacks. This one goes in the Diamondbacks' favor.
You wonder if it's hard to read balls for some reason out there, because we've seen a couple, like you said, totally misjudged on similar trajectories. Now Yasmani Tomas takes ball 1.
Peter O'Brien, who's played left field for the Diamondbacks in the first 2 games, has had some adventurous routes out there. Not known for his skills, but Scott is very good on routes and reads.
That's a strike. Kershaw dealing with Yasmani Tomas. Signed the largest deal in club history prior to last season. 6 years, $68.5 million. Castillo telling him, calm down. Easier said than done against Clayton Kershaw. Tomas from Cuba, defected in 2014. Spent 16 hours in choppy waters on a boat making his way from Cuba to Haiti, and then eventually found residence in the Dominican Republic. Ellis, a tremendous stop and an important one with a runner at second and nobody out.
90 feet turns into a situation where you can have 2 shots with no outs and a man on third to get him in, but AJ doing a nice job saving that footage.
Kershaw's 2-2. A fastball for his 9th strikeout of the day. Actually, the slider at 88, really tight.
Establishes into most of the right-handed hitters, and then the 3rd time around the order, or some way to try and complete this game, goes out to the backdoor side to these righties. We've seen this against Weeks. We saw it against Goldschmidt early, and the rest of the order is starting to see it late.
The 9 Ks with just the 1 walk. And Ahmed comes up.
Now batting, shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
And with the pitcher's spot after him, they've sent Chris Herman to the on-deck circle. Strike one. And Herman actually the pinch runner at second for Wellington Castillo, representing the tying run. Phil Gosselin is the man on deck. Oh, 0-2. Ahmed is 0 for 8 in this series.
Public enemy #1. The curveball starts it on a little lower trajectory here in Arizona. The air a little thinner, so you're not going to get quite as much break. Clayton did a nice job bending that one. This is where if you're an infielder, even though there's only one out, you've got to knock it down. You've got to give your big lefty a chance to get out of a first and third situation with one out. You've got to find a way to keep the ball in the infield. Clayton's trying to find a way to punch him out.
Breaking ball pulled to short. Seager's got it, checks the runner and throws him out. And after a leadoff double, Kershaw goes strikeout, ground out, and that runner is still anchored at second.
Strikeout kept him there. The ground ball to the left side kept him there. And now he's got a situation where he and AJ can go over some strategy on how to get in the dugout. First base open. And going over Gosselin, who Clayton hasn't seen yet today.
Herman the pinch runner at second for Wellington Castillo, who started this inning with a double. One-run game in the 7th in this series rubber match. Started him with a slider. Strike one on Gosselin.
Used to love it when my catcher would come to the mound with a pinch hitter at the plate and say, this is how we're going to attack him. Instead of saying this is what the hitter is good at, so you're avoiding some areas and worried about something. This is what we're going to attack him with, and this is how we're going to get him out.
Oh, Clayton demonstratively reacts and then yells at home plate umpire Sam Holbrook. And Orioles about to jump out of the booth and do the same.
I don't get how that's ball, especially when it is on the plate the whole way and still catches the plate.
We're not begging for corner strikes here. That's twice pitches have been over the plate and called balls. 1-2.
Whatever the scouting report was from AJ, he says let's attack with the slider because he's got 3 of them from Clayton's hand.
Tying run at second. He was there to begin the inning with a double. He is still there. And with a 1-2 on Gosselin, here comes Kershaw. His 10th strikeout of the game. And the 7th inning comes to a close with the Dodgers still in front, 3-2.
Clayton Kershaw with 10 punch-outs so far on the day, looking for his 10th win of the season. One thing Clayton Kershaw cannot do, however, is sit on the bench here in the visitors' dugout at Chase Field. The reason being is because the way that these benches are set up, and it's not this way in the home dugout, the way that they are, you sit on them and then your legs begin to fall asleep. That was purposely designed that way when the Chase Field opened, to make sure that it was as uncomfortable as possible for the visiting team to sit on those benches. You'll see a lot of the guys always up by the railing. It's not that way over in Arizona. Clayton Kershaw refuses to sit on this bench, guys. His legs will fall asleep.
That is
It's
awesome.
happened. I've done it.
Say thank you to Buck Showalter.
Huh. Is that his idea to start doing that?
His idea is all over this ballpark. The original manager of the Diamondbacks. The runway between the pitcher's mound and home plate was Buck's idea to give the field a unique look. I like the runway as a pitcher. It really helped line you up visually, drive the ball to each corner.
Seager drives one the other way. Weeks is there for the first out against Andrew Chafin, who was just called back up from the minors. He's the only lefty in the bullpen. A bullpen that has struggled this season. They've allowed more inherited runners to score than any other pen in baseball.
Well, the marching cry when the Dodgers hit the bench after Clayton pitched around that leadoff double is, let's get this guy another run. Little insurance. Corey hit it well, but didn't fall in.
Traces 1 for 3. Happy birthday tomorrow, by the way, to the guy on the mound right now, Andrew Chafin. He'll turn 26. Third big league season. Was really good last year. Not the case this year. Coming inside on 0-1 and nearly hitting Thompson. In 66 games a year ago, Chafin's earned run average was 276. He was 50% better than league average last year. He's 50% below league average this year. "17 runs allowed in 17 innings. It's 1-1 to Trace Thompson. 1-2.
Talking to Turner Ward around the batting cage and the growth of Trace Thompson. And he said, you know, this guy reminds me of the work ethic that I had from Paul Goldschmidt. The growth he's made as a hitter, the adjustments he's made in his swing, and the way he wants to work on it and trust the process every day. He wants to become an expert at the one basic that Turner is teaching him, and knowing that as I learn that foundation, we will continue to add things to it. So they work on only 2 or 3 things every single day and don't worry about the complexities of hitting and making adjustments, but just working on basic foundational pieces.
2-2 to Thompson. Outside, count goes full.
And Trace has been very good at trusting Turner and trusting the process of just working on those specific things to grow as a hitter. And the results have come real quickly, and that is great for a coach, because when you get results with a player, you gain a lot of trust for when they go through the dry times.
Thompson down on strikes, 2 gone in the 8th. And before Turner Ward was Paul Goldschmidt's hitting coach here in Arizona, he was his manager in AA Mobile as Goldschmidt was coming up through the system. And Turner Ward was doing the same on the coaching side. It's Spent the last 2 years here as Arizona's hitting coach, now in his first season on the Dodger staff. 2 up, 2 down. Adrian Gonzalez takes low.
Proud is the wrong word, but I admire Adrian and where he is on how often he wants to play and how he's in there and he produces.
Hard hit, backhanded it short. Ahmed loops a throw to get him. And we go to the bottom of the 8th in Phoenix with the Dodgers in front 3-2, trying to win this series.
Bottom of the 8th, 3-2 Dodgers, and is it any surprise that Clayton Kershaw is still on the mound? Check this out, most innings pitched per start in all of Major League Baseball, not just the National League, and Clayton on top again. No matter what statistical category you want to break him down this year, and almost in his whole career, he is on top.
It's his 9th double-digit strikeout game this year. Got number 10 to finish off the 7th with a tying run in scoring position. Dropping in a curve to Phil Gosselin. That's Joe Blanton getting ready as Kershaw's thrown 101 pitches. 8th time in his 14 starts. He's gone into the 8th. 1-1 on Michael Bourne. Slides it in, 1-2. The slider has been a nice weapon for him today. One start after he didn't have it how he normally does in San Francisco. Breaking ball gets Bourne for strikeout number 11.
He's faced 5 left-handed at bats today. He struck out 2 of them. That's right on his number of 40% of the lefties get punched out when they face Clayton.
Dave Roberts coming out. Gene Segura in the top of the order coming up. Another good one from Clayton Kershaw. The Dodger fans in attendance let him know how much they appreciate it. 3-2 Dodgers. Kershaw in position to get win number 10. Dodger Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We treat kids better. Clayton Kershaw's day finished after 7 1/3, 11 strikeouts and only 1 walk. In position to get win number 10 at the earliest date he's ever done it by a few weeks. Joe Blanton comes on to face the righties at the top of the order. Gene Segura looking at ball 1.
Joe Blanton, a outstanding reliever for the Dodgers. The trivia question would be, who's the only pitcher on the Dodger staff that has a lower opponent's batting average than Clayton Kershaw? He's standing on the mound. Clayton's at 170 as of right now. Started the game at 169. Blanton's 138. And the next best is Lewis Coleman, who's actually tied with Clayton now for opponent's batting average at 170.
Segura hits a fly ball on the right field line. Thompson on the move makes the play. Running out of real estate in that right field corner, but still able to haul it in for out number 2.
We saw Trace yesterday, I think in about the 2nd inning, cut down Segura rounding second on a possible double/triple where the ball was thrown away by Maeda, and then he ended the inning with a diving grab and now records the 2nd out here with some great range.
Blanton has pitched in all 3 games in this series now, and 4 of the 6 on the trip. That's strike 1 to Brandon Drury.
This takes a great jump, and it takes great range and great speed, and that ball curves an awful lot at the end when it loses its velocity, and Trace did not miss it.
Drury pops it up. Will it stay in play? A.J. Ellis watches it hit off the top of the dugout, bound its way into the 10th row or so. 0-2. Since the opening week of the year, the Dodgers bullpen number 1 in baseball in earned run average, and overall number 1 in the National League right now.
That is no longer deceiving, or they've done that in innings where that don't count. These guys are coming in pressure situations. They're finishing off games. They've kept these 1-run losses that the Dodgers have had close to give the opportunity to the offense to catch up. They have really turned things around and find themselves on top now in the National League. If you eliminate the first 9 games of the year,
yeah, really,
the ERA, they'd be way out in front.
Blanton able to pitch 3 consecutive days here because in the opener he threw 5 pitches to get 2 outs. In the second game he threw 9 pitches to get 3 outs.
And if you talk to Joe like I did in spring training and early in the year about workload and what can he do and how fast can he come back after a day's work, he's like, look, Oral, I was a starter. I'm barely breaking a sweat after an inning. I love the work.
Clayton Kershaw with his 180th quality start since 2009 began. Blanton to Drury with a 2-2 that bounces up and knocks A.J. Ellis's mask off. Seven and a third today. The difference in this game is Scott Van Slyke 3-run home run in the 6th. 3-2. Bounce to short. Knocked down by Seager. He's got no play. And the Dodgers will have to face Goldschmidt with a man on here in the 8th.
Kind of a tweener. Corey lays back on it instead of coming to it. Going to trust his arm from back there. He could have made the decision to keep coming with it and kind of run towards it and backhand it. Just kind of clanked it.
And you hold your breath through this entire at-bat. 23 home runs for Paul Goldschmidt in his career against the Dodgers, most among active players. Strike one.
That first strike changes the whole at bat. Now you've got a couple pitches that you can go for the edges or off the edges.
Going away here. Fouled off. 0-2.
Now you almost have 4 pitches where you don't have to throw a strike. Make them look like a strike, end up a ball. You've got room to even throw a setup pitch.
They're going away again. And Goldschmidt fouls it again. And tailed back towards the plate.
Got a little too much because Joe got such great movement on this pitch. It leaked right back down the middle. Mentally in your head you want to be aggressive, but you're thinking edge of the plate or ball, not edge of the plate or strike.
Another 0-2. That's a better pitch for ball one.
If he goes in, he's going to go in off the plate. If he goes away, is it going to be the fastball to lock him up or the slider to walk him off the plate and make him swing and miss? Going to try and lock him up with a fastball away.
Better hit your spot. And does, but ball 2.
So close. Outstanding pitch for that count. You don't get the strike, you don't put him away, but boy, that's exactly where you want it. A hair more to the right and he's got him. But that's the perfect pitch.
Facing the guy that's been runner-up for MVP in the National League 2 of the last 3 seasons. Going back outside on 2-2. Fouled off of the glove of Ellis, and it stays even.
Blanton going unconventional, going back-to-back fastballs out there. A lot of young pitchers would immediately default to their slider, but Joe, knowing he's going against a veteran hitter that's thinking right along with him, tried to go unconventional and backed up the fastball with another one. Now he's really got the slider set up.
Tying run at first in the 8th inning. 2-2. Fouled again.
It's a great piece of hitting by Goldschmidt to foul that ball off. That's a ball, and it's a slider breaking the opposite way. You think, why doesn't he come inside? Why they're working him away? You got to have a spot inside to get him. But Paul Goldschmidt's so good at that reaction swing on the inside fastball.
Coming outside again. Off of the mound is short. Seager feeds Kendrick, and he can release that breath you've been holding for the last 8 pitches. Let's go to the 9th. Dodgers in front, 3-2. through Paul Goldschmidt after the 2-out error, and he stayed away and got it.
Sometimes 4-out innings really kill you, especially when you got a hitter like Goldschmidt coming up, and Blanton just attacked him away, never went inside at all, made pitcher pitch after pitcher's pitch, and he kept going out there with the fastball, the slider, the curveball never used, and then one more slider, almost acting like a high cutter, gets him on the weak grounder.
Did you have butterflies in your stomach, knots in your stomach, that AB?
I did. I'm out there like living vicariously through Clayton, who's watching it on the bench, because you put all that work in. You've got a special season building, and you just want to get that victory in your pocket, and there's only 3 outs to go.
Howie Kendrick against Daniel Hudson, who walked the bases loaded in the opener with the Dodgers down by just 1 run. But that was bailed out by Brad Ziegler. The Dodgers dropped that game 3-2. They won 7-4 last night behind 4 home runs. They lead 3-2 today on 1 home run. Scott Van Slyke 3-run shot in the 6th.
It's so nice to have Clayton on the mound, not having to play the role as stopper, and somebody that can build a winning streak, and Joe Blanton is trying to make sure that happens. But he'll have a seat near Clayton watching Kenley Jansen probably in the 9th if the Dodgers don't tack on any more runs.
Middle third of the order due up. That's Weeks, Herman, Tomas. Jake Lamb available off of the bench today for Chip Hale. Howie Kendrick leading off the 9th. Howie's looked good today. Couple of base hits as his numbers start to ease their way back towards his career norms.
I mentioned yesterday that Howie's starting to spray the ball around the field more, and for Howie that means he's pulling the ball more. He's hit so many balls to right field over the course of his career. I think he gets hurt by the shift so much, and you see where Goldschmidt is. We saw Howie get a hit to left field yesterday and got one over there today. Even in batting practice, you used to see him wear out the right side of the cage and the right side of the field, but we see him let the barrel go a little bit more to try to the weaker part of the defense now.
Guy that's never hit below 285 in his career. Entered today 225, but has added 2 hits and boosted that average above 230. 8th pitch of this at bat that begins the 9th again. Look out, 96 riding up and in.
Veteran player gets off to a slow start, average is not near the career norm. Everybody wants to immediately attribute it to age and father time. I think with Howie it's missing spring training, fewer reps when he came back, getting off to a slow start and having to kind of rebuild his swing back to where it is. But I don't see any bat speed going down.
This is his second 10-pitch at bat of this series. He had a pinch hit, 10-pitch AB that turned into a single against Zach Greinke on Monday. See how this one finishes. It's like the hero as we stand right now. So the count goes full, and Daniel Hudson ready to deliver his 12th pitch to Howie Kendrick.
We're getting close to naming a player of the game, and I think there's going to be a call for a recount. If it's Clayton, Van Slyke will ask for a recount.
Yeah.
If it's Van Slyke, Clayton should ask for a recount. Can we do Co if it ends up like this?
How he keeps going here, you're going to have to toss his name in there. This would be the 13th pitch of the AB coming up.
Can't win player of the game just by getting a lot of pitches.
He's already singled twice, so depending on how this finishes. That's his 8th foul ball.
Oh wow, that's huge.
Okay, why are you hating on the guy?
I'm not hating on him at all. I'm devaluing foul balls over 3-run homers and 8 innings of great work.
Fair enough.
I'm with you. You're just chewing the fat.
14th pitch of this at bat. And he bounces to second. Segura will throw him out.
Nice to see Howie get a couple hits today and continue to move up in the batting order. But here is the possible player of the game. From the 6th inning, this blast put Clayton up 3-1 when the Dodgers were down 1-0.
It was his first homer on this year. Four for 8 in this series. Most significant playing time he's gotten since coming off of the DL. Started the first game, came off of the bench last night.
He'll be hunting something right here. He can launch. 2-0 count, up by a run, 1 out. Probably looking middle to inner half.
On 2-0. Takes it low and inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Arizona will have the middle third of the order due up in the bottom of the 9th, likely against Kenley Jansen.
Green light right here.
On 3-1. A stop by George Lombard, first base coach. First year on a big league staff for him. Former minor league instructor in the Red Sox system. Payoff coming to Van Slyke, and he fouls it back to do it again. Not only is it the first big league job for George Lombard, it's the first time he's been a base coach. There are times where he'd jump in for an inning here and there when he was in the minors with Boston as a coach. And Slyke goes down swinging, 2 away in the 9th. There's a lot of prep work that goes into George Lombard's job and any first base coach's job that, you know, on the surface you don't think a ton about. But he's dialed in on every single pitcher that they'll face as far as their pickoff moves, their time to the plate, all the information that he can gather to help arm his base runners. Same thing with Chris Woodward down at third, who studies things like outfielders' arms. A.J. Ellis swings and misses, strike one. It's Woodward's first stint as a third base coach. He was a first base coach in Seattle last year. Goes without saying, though, totally different job there than it is at first.
George had an early morning today, too. When we arrived off the second bus, we saw him. George was hitting fly balls to Will Venable, who just joined the club and was working on his defense. They were out here about 9:30 in the morning.
Ellis pops it up. Foul ground in front of the dugout. And Goldschmidt's got it. All right, fasten those seatbelts. Bottom of the ninth coming up. Kenley Jansen coming in. Dodgers by one, trying to win this series. Most in baseball, but right now, as we go to the bottom of the ninth, the Dodgers on the right side of a one-run game. And Kenley Jansen, 3 outs away from matching Eric Gagne's club record for most saves in a career.
If he gets his 19th today, he'll tie Eric, and he'll only have a couple of guys in the whole National League there in front of him as far as save total is concerned.
Weeks, Herman, Tomas. Batters due up here in the ninth inning against Jansen, who struck out the side last night for the first time this year. Weeks 2 for 3 with a homer and a double against Kershaw. Strike one. Dodgers head back home after this to face Weeks' former team, the Brewers, in a 4-game series starting tomorrow. Jansen straightens up for this 0-1, coming inside. And missing his spot. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Kenley has been so automatic up until the last week that there really was nothing to analyze. But after the blown save in San Francisco and a couple outings with lack of fastball command and lack of cut on his cutter, the story around him is he started to mix in the slider with the save and the striking out of the side, so it gives him a little bit more room for error with the hard stuff when he can throw some of that slow stuff for strikes.
Somebody asked why hadn't you used the slider earlier. Well, if it ain't broke, and he said when you're inducing so much soft contact, that gets the job done as well as a swing and a miss slider does. Why go away from the cutter? But he's needed to in these last few days. 1-2. Hard hit, but it's Seager. One gone. The 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Go to Dodgers.com. Choose your hashtag ASG Worthy All-Stars. Send them to the All-Star Game presented by MasterCard, July 12th in San Diego. Dodgers.com/vote. Get on there and vote for that guy. Needs your help. 4th among shortstops right now. Addison Russell running away with that category. Chris Herman to the plate with one gone in the 9th. Strike one.
Corey Seager is first in hits, first in runs among shortstops, and the top 3 in most offensive categories. The voting should reflect that. Was below number 5 and has creeped to number 4 now, but deserves more votes.
Tying run at the plate for the Diamondbacks, bottom of the 9th, and an 0-1 from Jansen. Bounces in there. It's 1-1. Jake Lamb will bat next. Tied for the team lead in homers and RBIs this year. Jansen trying to ensure that Lamb bats with the bases empty. Two and one. Three balls, one strike.
When you have command and you're dotting it with that cutter, you don't need your slider. We saw Mariano Rivera do that for years, never throwing off-speed pitches. But Kenley does make the adjustment when the accuracy's not there by mixing in that slider.
On 3-1. Strike two.
He doesn't light up the radar gun. He can go 94, 95. This pitch at 91. But remember, Kenley is so big and gets down the hill. The relative velocity to the hitter is when it shows 91. I'll bet you to the hitter it feels like 96.
Two gone.
.90 miles an hour up. The effectiveness of probably 96, 97. Kenley getting down the hill, reaching towards the hitter and blowing it by him.
1 out away from a series win, 1 out away from matching a Dodger record. Jake Lamb, all that stands between Jansen and that bit of history. Pinch hitting. As the tying run in the 9th inning. Ellis sets away for the first pitch. Jansen gets strike one. Started tracking saves in 1969. Eric Gagne, a converted starter. 161 saves in a Dodger uniform. Jansen at 160. 0-2. Jansen's ready. 1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And while Eric Gagne had the path from starter to closer, of course, Kenley's a little more indirect. From catcher to pitcher to elite closer. 2-2 on Jake Lamb. The Dodgers take the series. 3-2 in the finale. And Kenley Jansen ties Eric Gagne for the club record with his 161st save in a Dodger uniform.
2 guys on top, Eric Gagne from Canada, the north, and Kenley Jansen from Curacao, the south. But both are tied now at the top of the Dodgers save list.
Dodgers come out on the right side of a 1-run game. 3-2 the final score behind Scott Van Slyke's 3-run home run. We take a look at the Lexus play of the game, and it's that against Patrick Corbin. Back in the 6th, accounting for the Dodgers scoring in this game. Clayton Kershaw moves to 10-1 on the season with an 11 strikeout performance.